cash crisis works. Talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 they called monetary awareness. All right, we are connected for the Friday edition of RT News. And once again, connecting, sharing my 2 cents on a variety of subject matter. And as always, looking forward to getting your take. But lots of stuff happening out here. And I try not to get too excited just because when you see price surging up, that's always a key indicator of something much bigger happening behind the scenes. And so that's why I always encourage people to focus on possession rather than price, just because right now this could be the beginning of what I would consider the road to true price discovery. And so I'm going to share my 2 cents on that and a lot more. But anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope everyone had a great and graceful Thanksgiving yesterday. Didn't eat too much and the like, but looking forward to connecting. Let me make sure I'm flowing on all cylinders here. Feel free to let me know where you guys are watching from, and we can make this work. And as always, looking forward to checking in with my people. It's been a minute, it seems, but lots of things on the back end happening. And so just trying to, juggle a lot of stuff on my side, but here I am. But we got James checking in. Let me just show some people right here. We got James checking in. We got Funny Colors checking in. We got Dave Yu checking in from G Rapids in the building. Appreciate you. We got Andreston, if I'm not saying it incorrectly. Hello, Mike. How you doing? Feel free to let me know where you guys watching from, just to see where how far spread out the community is. And of course, feel free to share thoughts, ideas, suggestions on subject matter that interest you outside of silver. So today I'm going to focus primarily on the price discovery, as I mentioned, just because with CRIMEX glitch or deliberate stopping of the futures trading due to a lack of physical coming from or due to empty vaults in London, it's trickling over to the Western Hemisphere, and the CRIMEX is exposed, and this could be the road to true price discovery. So we'll see, but I'm going to just thumb through some charts and, more importantly, pay attention to the narrative on the socials, just because I see lots of great commentary of everybody trying to share their 2 cents. And when you take all those thoughts and combine them, you'll have a better understanding of what's really happening outside of what the mainstream media cannot tell you. And so when I see things like this, where there's lots of excitement amongst the retail space, it is also a time of steer towards caution, just because it's Friday. And as I look at the price action on the charts here, we are in uncharted territory in a positive sense when it comes to price discovery. But then again, for the bullion banks and the powers that be, it's not favorable for them. So, whenever things get out of hand, they tend to try to distract us in some form of fashion. So be on the lookout for some type of narrative. Okay. So we got LBP checking in. What's up, man? Barlight Broker checking in. What else? We got more people checking in from Houston. Appreciate you checking in. All right, so let's just jump into it. Listen to from Minnesota in a chicken coop. Appreciate you, man. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. Lots of things I want to touch on as well. Let's get your thoughts. So on the screen here, this is what we're looking at right now. Let me refresh this because it appears to be changing. And so literally $56 an ounce and gold at $4,200. Could you ever have imagined that it would take place at such a rapid pace? Of course, we all anticipated there being some event, but with the continual surge, and if you just look at this silver chart, man, we've never witnessed this in USD terms, and that's what makes this a historical moment. And so, as always, the goal is to have possession of physical, tangible wealth in a world of digital distractions and illusions. And as you can see, let me just zoom in here of the performance in USD terms. And so this is the positive side of those that have possession. And so let's just focus on silver allocation. And so literally today, a $3 increase in the last 30 days, $4.59. In the last 6 months, $20. In the last year, $22. In the last 5 years, $30. And then the last 20 years, it's up $45, which is the equivalent of 542%. Now take that and invert that and look at it from the negative side or the unfortunate side of those which are the 99.99% of the population that don't know what's going on, not paying attention to silver right now, look at it from their standpoint of those that are solely sitting in Federal Reserve notes, to where they're losing purchasing power literally when priced, or the measuring stick is silver, which is the people's money. And so this is what a wealth transfer looks like in with an intentional from those that possess it, but unintended consequence of those that don't know and have monetary literacy. And so long-winded response to the bigger picture of understanding monetary literacy. And speaking of which, let me just remind those who might not know, I put out a silver IQ quiz, literally, and I'm looking at the results. And people outside of those that pay attention and know and are part of the community, majority of people aren't doing too well. And they're just general historical events that have taken place since the founding of our country, centered around silver as money, and people don't know that. So think about this. Right now, it's $56, and it's more so probably from global demand, but it hasn't even really hit the U.S. retail space yet, because the only people who are actually paying attention to this are people who are watching me right now. And it's only a couple people. So this is how we know we're early. And so don't make price of silver or gold or platinum or palladium the primary focal point. Focus on possession, because there is no ceiling to how high silver and gold can go when there's no floor to how low the Federal Reserve note can fall relative to purchasing power. So that's just a little introduction for my people. Now, as I'm speaking, of course, I'm going to try to get to the chat as best I can. And let me make sure you guys can still hear me, because if I'm talking to myself, you know how it be sometime. Okay, so let me just share with you, and I look at things from the positive, and then the unfortunate is the negative, is when you look at it from the measuring stick methodology, as I refer to. So right now, last time I used this graph, I focused on Japan. So now let's just take this and invert. Let's invert this. Let's go USD. And so for those that have possession, you are more in the positive space as far as feeling excited. But those who measure everything they do in Federal Reserve note terms, or AKA dollars, as some people refer to them, literally over the last month, when priced in, let's go to silver. Let's go to silver and use silver as a measuring tool. So literally in the last month, for those that rely upon Federal Reserve notes more than they do silver as a wealth preservation tool, you've lost relative purchasing power 15%. And in the last week, 10%. In the last 24 hours, 5.46%. In the last 12 hours, 4.2. So literally, if you measure wealth from fiat terms, this is how much you're down. If you measure it from gold, from silver standpoint, over the last year, as it says here, look at that, 87.49% if silver has been your anchor or your measuring stick. So there's just something to consider, an alternative way of looking at it. But for those, I encourage you, take the Silver IQ quiz. Links in the description. When you're done, come back, post your score in the comment section, and then take it and share it with a family or friend, because this is more proof as to why they don't know what they don't know and why it's important to plug in and get informed. Okay, so let me keep it moving. Let me just check in with the chat real quick. Bear with me, people. I want to make sure I don't get beyond myself and ignore my people. So Dave says, interesting times, 100%. We have Silver says, still using credit to buy silver. Same 5 years ago, same today. LOL. LBP 1.5. Shalom, Mike. More people checking in. Appreciate you guys. Let me know what other thoughts. And feel free, as always, I'm going to try to, go as long as we have interaction here. So feel free to throw some thoughts, ideas, suggestions out here. It says, Mike, I'm trying to buy that 1.5 to silver bar from Dubai in credit, or that 2-ton bar. Yeah, that bar is crazy. Crazy. Okay, so let's keep it going. Let me just get to some headlines here. I got some things that popped up on my radar. And so it looks like I got a zero hedge this morning. Let me refresh this and see. Okay, so let me just share with you some things trending right now. Okay, so CRIMEX, or CME, reopens after Chicago data center cooling issue. So literally, I was, because I watch the markets regularly, international news especially, and I posted the CME halting futures in the Telegram at almost 1 in the morning last night. 1 in the morning last night, I saw it, posted it, and so the community who are plugged into the Telegram, they knew beforehand what was happening. So even when I was watching the silver markets at early morning hours, I saw the upward trajectory, and I was like, man, it's gonna be something happening Friday. And sure enough, I refresh it and CME. I'm like, okay, so this is gonna be interesting. So I knew that this was going to be a very interesting day, just having known the trend. So trying to stay ahead of things. But okay, so let's just talk about a little bit here. I'm sure everybody now has heard and paying attention, but I'm going to present a different narrative as always, just because I can't follow the trends. I have to set it. And that's why I'm trying to encourage people not to get overly excited, just because we're still in the first inning of what could be a long road to price discovery, as I mentioned earlier. And I'll get into a little bit more as to why price discovery is going to be imperative in the midst of a reset. And also, I got to, remind me if I don't forget, because I'll get carried away. But a comment somebody put out there, if I'm not, I think it was Faith Parent, faithful, literally a faithful community member who literally keeps me sharp. She asked a question. It's good to know about having possessions. It's good to know how to protect and preserve yourself. But what do we do when we get into it and towards the latter part of it? What do we do at that point? And that's where I've been, trying to rack my brains to, uncover some methodologies. And of course, everybody have to have their own strategy, but it's good to look ahead as to what and how you might let loose of some of your holdings or diversify it or whatever the approach might be. So just, whatever, share with you my thoughts. But okay, so here we go. Semi-global futures, options. Markets have officially reopened after their overnight cooling issue. For now, NASDAQ, FUTS are rallying. Futures are rallying. So literally, as it shows here, all that early morning activity that it took place earlier, because this came out earlier this morning, but just as a little snippet, that's what's happening. But it said headlines crossing over the terminal shows that CME Globex futures and options market will open at 8:30, which is this morning, after hours of being offline due to a cooling issue at data center operated in the Cyrus One in Chicago. So once again, we've had a lot of glitches and stuff like that, intentionally, I believe, more so than accidental, because we were told to look out for a cybersecurity event. That event obviously is in our future, because Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, has made it clear that that's what they have planned as an option. So don't be surprised, and this comes to mind as we speak it. You get a glitch like this. This glitch is not timely, is intentional, because of a lack of physical availability of deliveries for futures of silver. So we know that there's events like this could happen. But imagine, and this is where you got to put your tinfoil hat on. I keep one right here. Keep a tinfoil hat. Keep it, because you never know when you might need it. But just tinfoil thought, the real quick run with me. Okay, so we know a cyber event is a part of a strategy or plan B or C or D, whatever they might throw at us. They, meaning those that are trying to orchestrate this entire reset that they're trying to pull over on humanity. And so literally, think about this. Right now, $56 is silver price. That's peanuts. But it's peanuts in the bigger scheme of things as we go towards the price discovery, which we can throw out some figures, 3-digit figures just to start. $100 will be a start, which will be a direct admission of default and a reset of silver to whatever comes after that. But right now it's 56. So it's good to say they're battling to try to suppress this. But what's concerning is right now it is little less than 2 p.m. in the midday, and every single little blip you see on this red right here has been like 10 cents, and it surged. 2 pennies, surged. 5 cents, come down, surge. So right here, let me try to zoom in. And so typically in times past, these surges or rallies will be short-lived due to the ability to suppress price. And so what is the most concerning, let's go look at the hour. So this is the last couple hours, and this is the top of that green that I'm talking about. So if we look out, we just go the day. So literally, here we are now. This was 53.54 a day ago. So literally, this was early morning activity, and this is when I first noticed. This is the whole LBMA having issues, and then heading into the early mornings here where the CRIMEX was supposed to step in. This is their attempted slam down right here, and then slam down here, nothing. And then ever since then, so literally surge, 2 pennies, surge, penny, come down very small, all within a 45, 54. Let me get, you guys can see it completely. But all this morning activity was all a small increase after the CRIMEX, shut down their computer system for a glitch. And then literally markets open midday. Here we are now. It's just steadily climbing. And then literally at, according to here, 1400 hours, which is opening of the CRIMEX, boom, here we are to the races. And now here we are at the top of this surge, and let's zoom in here. So the last 6 hours, this is what the last 6 hours look like. So literally new high, come down a cut. So from 56.37 down to 55.99. So 37 cent slam. Bam, 37 cents. Okay, move steadily, surge back up. And then boom, new all-time high. So literally within that first all-time high, which took place at 12:11 a.m., here we are. This is 12:55. And then bam. So the all-time high was 56.49. Then they slammed down, CRIMEX open. Okay, bam. And here we are now. So let's look at the last hour. So look at the last hour's movement. These are literally penny movements. Bam. We got up to here. 56.49, bam, down 56. Oh, that's 40 cents. So think about this. The biggest drop they were able to pull off with the futures contract manipulation price setting mechanisms that they have was literally after a $5 surge. The lowest they could get it was 56.49 down to 56.06. That's a 43-cent drop. I've never noticed a slam down of 40 cents. That is unheard of, meaning that the width of the ability that they have to slam prices to make it substantially viable for them is decreasing. Therefore, the upside pressure, I believe, is just that much greater. Because here we are now, it recovered 40 cents, and we are now 56, 42-ish. And we still got 2 hours before they end up closing the markets. So the reason I say all that, just because they're literally probably scrambling behind the scenes to figure out what comes next. Because futures obviously no longer works to set the price and to maintain the price because of all the activity happening in the Eastern Hemisphere with the Shanghai futures, which is physical delivery. So literally, I haven't checked in with the guy that comments from the Asian region because he gives a spot price of gold and silver denominated in the yuan terms, and it was always higher than, meaning that whole arbitrage opportunity was always present over the last, definitely the last 10 months, if not longer than that. But now we have the continual backwardation where literally the futures price is lower than the present price, meaning that people are forced to, holders of futures contracts for future delivery dates, they're now forced to literally try to sell them things now and get physical so that they don't take losses. And so literally they are scrambling like we have never seen before. And this is the part that is spooky, because if you have Europe and the US, both LBMA and the CRIMEX scrambling to try to figure out how to control their own losses. They're not concerned with you or those that possess the physical now. It's about those that expect future delivery of physical that is not above ground. What do? This is when it gets scary, because a cyber event could be a good way to so let me try to make sense with this. Think about this. If silver is the last lynch pin that could blow up this entire debt illusion, they can't afford to have this contagion event grow to a systemic event centered around people expecting physical delivery when there is no physical bullion in the vaults for people to redeem those futures contracts that they're holding on to. They will not settle for cash ever again. So they literally need to come up with some type of physical. And if they can't get physical, you have to come up with some type of excuse or cover. And this is where be on the lookout for some type of event happening to Trump, something in DC beyond the shooting, and look for something. And I hate to be that Debbie Downer to ruin your mood, but this is not about my opinion. This is about maintaining global order in the sense of every country being locked in step with the powers that be, trying to systemically control a narrative that they may lose if more people find out about silver and the importance of going down to their coin shops and draining their vault. So if everybody went down to try to drain their coin shops and all the online dealers, they're going to stop selling to you as well because every online dealer know that they're losing money right now because as more people come down to their shops and try to buy silver at $56 plus the premium is $5. That's $61, $62 right now. And so that's still a sale. That's still a bargain. It's like Black Friday where the price is going up in nominal terms, which means you got to spend more of these. But think about this. If the bullion banks lose control, therefore the bankers will literally be underwater more. And therefore, everybody who's holding an ounce of silver, the upside potential of that price grows incrementally stronger week by week moving forward. So a bullion dealer will stop selling and they're going to offer you more for what you're trying to sell to them so that they can have an inventory because you don't have a business unless you have inventory to meet demand. And this is the whole problem with supply demand. The demand is increasing to the point where it's becoming an issue because there is no supply. But there is a supply at a much, much higher price. Hence the idea of price discovery. And so as I started this off, I talked about price discovery. Price discovery in the framework of what is the price that you, the listener of my voice right now, will be willing to part ways with a single ounce. So right here, I have a Silver Eagle. Right now, it's $56 plus the premium on top of it. But I know that $56 is not the real price. That's just what the futures market, as it's being unwound, that's what the price on the screen tells me. But I know this is probably closer to, for the average Joe and Jane, the average Joe and Jane, and I'm working on a project right now, and I'll let you guys in on it. It's called the MAGA insurance plan. It's from a video I did years ago talking about the importance of the individual taking out an insurance policy on their government and the central bank, where you're responsible for being the underwriter, premium supplier, and the custodian. And so I'm getting into that now, but the reason I did is so if this is insurance against your government and this is insurance against the Federal Reserve, then there is no price at this current moment that I would be willing to part ways with it willingly, unless I had an emergency or something like that, because I know that we've come nowhere close to actually being able to determine the amount of these that is even in the ballpark figure. $100 is still not coverable. $100 still won't do it. Because if you look at the total M2 money supply, which is $20 trillion ish, and then you look at the derivatives, which is $5.1 quadrillion, and that encompasses the USD denominated amount to cover all the paperized products, all the debt instruments, all the so-called assets in the world. Those are relatively abundant in comparison to the small amount of silver that is needed for savings for the average person, the stacker, silver stacker considered savings, the industrial demand for electronics technicians, they need it for cars and also like that. And then you have just the sheer future discoveries for how silver will be used that we don't even know yet, because AI hasn't even told us what's possible with silver. God has created unlimited ways for mankind to use silver and gold and every other element from the earth because of his unfathomable nature that mankind has yet to discover it yet. And that's the benefit of, and one of the bonuses of God. He's unlimited in his creative ability that he can use through man. Anyway, I can go on and on. But with those three things there's no way of discovering price. So once again, it's more so what are you willing to part ways with it at? What amount do you need to accomplish what you need to accomplish with your life, whether it be to redeem, to redeem some of these for fiat to go buy something or to go purchase something or to go invest in something or to go set yourself up for future, events. That is the whole price discovery that I started off talking about. And so the question I want to put out there to you guys, what is your price? And that's where it's up to you to determine what you need to accomplish with your life. What does God want to do through you? And I can go even deeper because it's been on my mind a lot. How can you be used to advance his kingdom in the earth? How can he trust you with the resources he provided you to accomplish his objectives in the earth? That's what excites me right now. Anyway, okay. So yeah, I mean, hopefully within that discussion there, you guys got a little something there because I chopped off a lot of topics in one, but I got to get it out when it's fresh. If I try to hold it back, I'm gonna miss something. So I gotta roll as it flows. That's what I call it. Okay. But let me know if you guys still with me. Okay, so I got more. So I intended to talk a little bit about what's trending on socials because don't take my opinion, take the experts. Experts are anybody who spent a significant amount of time studying a subject matter can offer a valuable opinion because that's all an expert really does, offers an opinion based upon their studies. And I've been studying this since I started this channel, Rethinking the Dollar, because I was rethinking the dollar a long time ago after having experienced, travels overseas and stuff like that, and realizing that everybody's rethinking their currency. So it could be rethinking the peso, rethinking the euro, rethinking the yen, rethinking the shekel, whatever. Every country that has a central bank is forcing their people to rethink some things because the fiat currency, they are the problem. Okay. So let's just get into some social media stuff. So then we got North Star 3 hours ago. Let's just give it to you fresh. It says, is silver really going to finally break through its 46-year resistance line with a 6-week chart pattern that mirrors that 46-year pattern? The first chart covers 46 years. The second chart covers 6 weeks. So here we have two charts. This could be a good breakdown. So here, let's look at this breakdown. So once again, for those that mess with technical analysis, this is a good way to gauge potential future movements. Doesn't guarantee nothing, but you can learn a lot from studying the history because everything repeats itself in some form or fashion. But here we got this former cup from 80 to 2011. We see the high set. And then here we are now. He's talking about 55 to 56 handle. And is this the beginning of another breakout? And it says the weight of evidence leads us here. So he's pointing upwards, given the current trajectory. So earlier when I was talking about the very 30, 40 cent slam downs, those are unheard of because they're usually $1 or $2. But now, unless they invent a new way to slam the current price from 56 down further, the floor is 50-ish, about that. So now a new floor could be 55 with them 30 to 40 cent slam downs. And then we get to 60. Then it could be a 2.30 or 5.10 cent slam down, because literally when you're dealing with billions of dollars in futures that needs to be settled and there's no physical, they got to maneuver ways. And that's why just remember the word cyber polygon. Look it up. Okay, so according to his chart analysis, this is C, hypothetically, put your tinfoil on, put your tinfoil hat on. This is what he could be suggesting. His technical analysis shows us, and these arrows here put us around $320, between $240 and $320. I didn't say this. This is not coming from me. This is not financial advice. This is just monetary awareness is what it should be considered. And so once again, that's an interesting price there. But once again, he's still lowballing compared to the amount of Federal Reserve notes that exist. Because as I said before, every Federal Reserve note will be held accountable in physical form, meaning you're gonna have to pay a large amount of these in order to acquire something as rare and scarce as this thing here, because this is the last of the last cheap metals that can be used for monetary purposes. But he says here, silver chart. So just the inverse version of this, bam, bam. It says this is the last. Whoa. Okay, so this is the last couple of weeks. So the first chart I showed you was the last 46 years, and now he's focused on the last 4 to 6 weeks. 46 weeks shrunk down to this current bull phase we're experiencing. So literally, it's a second cup, and bam. So this is what he's saying that could lead to that next wave of $240 to $320 ballpark figure range. So literally, as I mentioned, these slam downs and the continuation of the slam downs are getting smaller. So 46 years to 4 to 6 weeks. And now the next one will be, 4 to 6 days. So as my thoughts come to me after looking at these charts, based upon the 46 years, 4 to 6 weeks, imagine 4 to 6 days after another wave of a surge. And say if we get to the $240 to $300, into the new year. This is 2026. Barring any unforeseen events, barring any type of, world-shattering discoveries or anything like that. Think about a price range of just hypothetically, $200 an ounce silver. And looking at TA at that point in the future of a 4 to 6 day range motion. And so literally, if we were to use these two graphs I just showed you based upon his TA and the slam downs. So we've seen a slam down during a 46-year period. It went from 50 down to what I think bottom was $15, $11. I think the lowest it is that I've been paying attention last 10 plus years. And then that was the lowest. And then here we are now, 56. Okay, so now zoom in, look at the last 4 to 6 weeks. The highest was $56, which is today. The lowest in the last 4 to 6 weeks was they got it down to $46. So that was a $10 swing. So imagine if we get to $200. That same second wave cup and handle with $200 being the new high at that time. And they get it down from 200 to say, 175. Just going according to I'm going according to a hypothetical in the future next year-ish, 200 being the new top then. And so if, say, for example, to the far side of the screen, if that was 200, then they get it down to something at the very bottom. And that's 100 and they can probably slam it maybe $25, give or take some new invention on way to slam. And then from there, it surges back up to 200, and then it corrects to 180, as you can see here. Just an example, just to say this is 180. And then once it gets to this part here and it takes off again, imagine what type of world would be if that was like, we were heading into phase 3. So right now, if this is phase 1 with a $56 high as of now, phase 2, say, is a $200, $250 high with a slam down. Imagine that third phase, 700, maybe 1,000, because the surges, I believe, will get more violent in a USD term as retail catches on. So imagine right now, everybody that's watching me, you are aware of what's going on. You've already taken a silver IQ quiz. You've already done well because you've been studying this stuff. You've been preparing for this moment. Imagine your next door neighbor or your cousin's cousin that used to consider you a conspiracy theory because you used to tell them about silver. But then they realize that this is their problem. And then they go out and say, you know what, I'm going to go get me some silver. So they go online, and the bullion dealers now, because of them being concerned, not many people are selling their silver. And so they're in a crunch. The premiums are going to go up substantially. So imagine if $200 an ounce silver, the premium is going to be $10, $15, because that's enough that they would be willing to take extra to run their business. Online is going to probably be higher because shipping and handling. They're going to have to increase the shipping and handling for the amount of weight they're willing to send. So think about this. For those that are in the business of silver, they're going to have to find new ways to make profit because, once again, what it's telling us about our currency is more people are redeeming these. Therefore, it's going to be a little bit of a problem because we're going to see what will be considered inflationary movement when it comes to gold and silver in particular, because the price is going up. But mind you, the average Joe and Jane are already cash strapped. So inflationary movements in gold and silver, meaning prices getting away from them, the bankers, and they don't want that. They would always prefer deflationary aspects, especially when it comes to debt-related things. So people who have real-world assets going to be selling stuff. So there's going to be deflationary there because people who got like, you know, an extra car that's sitting there, if it's like 5,000-6,000, they would rather sell that car and go get 5,000-6,000 worth of silver, which would probably be what, you know, a tube, a tube, you know, no, less than a tube. It's like half a tube, 10 ounces, or you get my drift. You're gonna get way less silver for a lot more Federal Reserve notes, and it's gonna catch on. People are gonna be trying to sell whatever. That's a problem because people are not gonna be spending. People are not gonna be going to the store buying dumb stuff. They're gonna be trying to get rid of what they have, which is that in of itself means the economy going to slow down from being a consumer-based nation. Because mind you, 70% of our economy is consumption. If we drop from 70 to 50 because people are not trying to sell stuff or redeem stuff to go get silver, that's going to be a problem. So you just see the daisy chain of events that could take place because people are waking up. And once again, 99.99% of people don't know what's going on right now. So consider yourself to be blessed and privileged and lucky that you're able to buy silver at $56 or $60, whatever it is, if you still can get it at. So, these are some things that, people don't really look at, the ripple effect of manipulation always has disastrous consequences for people who are not informed. But for people who are aware and awake, you're able to make moves faster and sooner to protect yourself. Because this is just all financial stuff. I'm not talking about the spiritual stuff that's coming with this as well. Because I got a whole can of worms about the spiritual side of things. Yeah, everybody's about to believe something. Hey, woo, baby. Okay, man. Okay. So once again, I just getting carried away, but I know within that rant there's some nuggets. Take them, run with them. Okay, let's go to some more commentary. Just here we got Kobayashi letter, another great analytical tool. Says what we are seeing in silver right now is truly historic. It says now above 1980 and 2011 highs and above 55 an ounce for the first time in history. While everyone is fighting over the AI bubble, precious metal are casually crushing every other asset class. What does it mean? Gold and silver always knows. Gold and silver always knows what's coming first. What's coming next? First, own assets or be left behind. So just more analysis and commentary. Then Eric Young, another great guy, dropping nuggets. I saw him on Manico or Mario's show earlier and got a chance to get a snippet, but this is some new update from him. So consider it somewhat fresh. It says, instead of dismissing rumors report completely, think outside the box. 36.8 billion US to buy entire world's free float silver around 20,000 metric tons is very little money. So literally what he's saying is if there's approximately at this current price 36.8 billion USD of above ground physical free float physical silver 20,000 metric tons available, all it takes is one person or one big entity, say for example if Apple realized that, hey, we can't make iPhones unless we got silver, let me go ahead and take some of my cash instead of stock buybacks and actually go drop 50 billion on some future claims of silver, and they stand for delivery. You better believe Trump gonna be on the phone, Anthony Besson gonna be on the phone. They're gonna call the CEO and they're gonna drop a case on them. They're gonna drop a case so bad on them so quick. They're gonna let some of his dirt out the closet and shame him into backtracking. That's another thing to consider. If there's anybody to get out of line, any billionaires to get out of line trying to protect themselves, meaning their own company's interest by securing silver or gold or whatever, you better believe secret agency is going to drop a case on them, going to expose some of their dirty laundry. And the best way to do it is to hint at, perhaps I saw Tim Cook in the Epstein's files. He was on a flight log one time, and out of sheer shame and the threat of his legacy being destroyed, the next thing you know, Apple will come out and say, yeah, we backtrack. We won't be buying silver. That's what happens when they have dirt on you, when they have a way to blackmail you. They keep you in line. You better believe me, a lot of people are going to be kept in line. Okay, let's keep it moving. So this is just a a screenshot that he shared about the whole physical side. It says, rumor out of China is that AP at the COMEX or LBMA or both still for delivery of 400 million troy ounces, around 12,000 metric tons of physical. Rather than default, the banks just pulled the plug, and they are now trying to figure out what to do. So this is his earlier morning commentary about why there was a technical glitch at one of the factories that had to do with the network or something like that. And so what better way to distract people by pulling the plug? So this is earlier commentary. And so this is said, this is people sharing their thoughts on that. It says, I'm surprised the Saudis didn't think of it rather than buying bloody SVB or Credit Suisse ATI1 or giving it to SoftBank. And so they're sharing their thoughts there. Okay, let's keep it going. So this is just some things that are surfacing to try to paint a narrative around what's happening. Here we got Bald Money Guy. It says, you're not dreaming. This is happening. Silver is on its way much higher, 100%. Then we have from 2 hours ago, IMHO $60 silver ain't going to cut it. They need north of $80 silver if they are to have any hope of reliquifying the system. So literally, you see I will call this the ring of corruption. This is what this will be called. LBMA, the COMEX, having used the ETFs as a way of helping to suppress price. And so they're having issues with that. So this little conundrum of what has been used to create a false narrative and price around physical wealth, they're losing control of it. So the goal is to find a way to put physical back into these coffers here so that they can make do on their deliveries. And what he's saying is $60 won't be enough. 80 might bring some silver back, but more than likely, $80 is still low given that this demand hasn't even hit retail yet. These are all investors. Everybody that's buying silver and gold in the last couple of weeks, months, whatever, are all investors, not retail. The average Joe and Jane, those that are closer to the poverty line that don't know what silver is for, nevertheless realize they need it to protect themselves, to preserve their purchasing power because they can't afford gold. And if the retail person, the average mom and pops knew that silver was the most affordable way for them to protect themselves, that is something they can obtain now, they would rush out as soon as they heard those words and get 5 ounces. Get 5 ounces. That can be an emergency fund because that 5 ounces today is $300, just say. But yet, once we get closer to what the real price of silver will be above 100, that's 500 right there. And then $100 silver is still nowhere near the real price of what it is in comparison to how it is useful for humanity's sake. So then we could talk about 1,000. $1,000 an ounce. So that's $5,000 in relative purchasing power as to what you can probably go purchase if you needed to let go of some weight. But then again, 5,000 for those 5 ounces that were bought during a time when it was $60 an ounce is still not really a price discovery. So you get where I'm saying, like, how do you gauge price discovery in a world where we have unlimited fiat? You can't. So there's no actual price other than what you need for yourself in order to let go of an ounce or 2 or 3 or 4. That is price discovery. Okay. So we got just 57. Oh, silver swords to 57 for the first time. Okay, 57. Okay, so it got to 57. And then it goes on and on and on and on. And then Peter Schiff gets in. Let's see what Peter has to talk about. Uncle Peter. Silver is up 5.8% today. Yes, CNBC has barely mentioned it. Are you surprised? CNBC can't touch on it other than the fact that they can't ignore it. So you have to mention it, but you can't shine a light on it as if like it is the most important story for our nation of all times, given that when our nation was founded using another foreign coin, we didn't even have a dollar. We had a thaler. Then we had a dollar where it was connected to a ratio of 1 to 10-ish, give or take. And the ratio of gold to silver is really what sets the global standard for value. They can't go that far because it's going to open up a can of worms. So all you can do is just show a price line at the bottom of the ticker. $56. Gold, 2,400. Bitcoin. Oh, but yet Bitcoin. Let's have Michael Saylor come on. I bet you. I haven't looked at it because I don't care. But it's good to say they've had some Bitcoin Maximus on there. Anthony Pompliano, Natalie Brunelli, Michael Saylor, Mike Novogratz. Yeah, anyway, okay. I had to make fun of them. Okay, imagine if Bitcoin was up that much today instead of being flat. That's all they be talking about. But CNBC completely ignores silver, hoping their audience does too. It says their advertisers can't, their advertisers want to keep viewers in the dark. And so if that's not truth, I don't know what is. Yeah, I said like, and somebody in the chat, let me know if you've seen or watched any mainstream news today. So okay, but that's just a little something there. We're 45 minutes in, and for those that just came in, I encourage you to go back and watch the replay and get the full breakdown of what price discovery means. It's an individual thing. It is not a number on a screen or a ticker. It's whatever price you need to let go of a single ounce if you needed to, and at what point and for what. That's the strategy that you as a viewer needs to be aware of. And so once again, this is stuff that most commentators may not mention or share or say because it's only natural to focus on price goes up because it gets clicks. But how does that help you though? If you're new, especially if you're a newbie. Long live coins. Appreciate it. Says would love to see you do another collaboration live stream with Manico. Love both your channels. Yeah, and so I've peeped that. I've peeped. A lot of people have been mentioned getting the Mike and Mario's going, and definitely I'll reach out to Mario. It's been a minute just because he's doing his thing and doing a phenomenal job, and his channel's growing. And on my end, I still keep the same narrative and not seeing the same algorithm help, but it's fine. But also I have other projects and things I'm working on, so I literally have a lot of things in front of me, which makes it hard because it requires time, energy, and effort to come up with the show, timing, and all the back end stuff. But I feel you because people do find value in it and do like it, and we do make a good team of coming from two different worlds. But when it comes towards the common good, people mess with us. So I appreciate you for sharing that as well as donating to the channel. Thank you. Okay. I've 1 ounce for a house. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I like what you're talking about there. 1 ounce for a house. Once again, that is a good way of thinking outside the box. Then let's talk this through a little bit. 1 ounce for a house. We always heard during Weimar Republic and during other previous resets, whenever the currency fails completely and everybody realized gold was numero uno. But 1 ounce for a house is something that could be considered. Now, not likely at all, but it could be considered. And the way it could be considered is because you know how people talk about the gold to silver ratio out of the ground is 7-to-1, 6-to-1, depending on where you're mining at this current moment, pre AI robotic collaboration. Because once AI and robots collaborate together, 5 years from now, 3-4 years from now, because they're going to be forced to speed this up, silver and gold will be abundant. Believe me, because within the earth, you got to go deeper. And believe me, because God left more than enough here to sustain humanity for quite some time. So it's gold, silver deeper. And so when they find more, the prices gonna fall. So that's why price discovery is gonna be important between now and the time AI robotics merged and go find a new way to extract it. Or I doubt they'd be able to create it because I believe the Lord will come back before then. But you see, we're working against time here because I got a lot of theories. I got a lot of theses I can come up with, but we do have a window of time. And I don't think humanity will be in a good position when we reach peak price discovery because I think we're going to go through some real changes in a variety of ways, and it won't be pretty. And majority of people, unfortunately, may not be alive to really enjoy the fruits of their stewardship. But I'm gonna leave that for a later conversation. But okay, let's talk about this 1 ounce for house real quick. So 1 ounce for house is potentially possible because if 1 ounce of gold in Weimar Republic was able to purchase a variety of things, if not multiple things in that category, then the gold to silver ratio, if it was to touch 1-to-1, similar to how Chris Duane, who's is Silver Shield, mentions that he believes that that's a part of his thesis, then 1-to-1 will be possible. Then 1-to-1, then that means that you can probably do gold or silver if they have equal value, meaning, and that's the part where it's far-fetched, it's hard to think, but that's why you need your tinfoil to play through scenarios because you never know what's possible. If man can think it, then obviously something's possible. So 1-to-1, what would it look like? What would that USD price look like to allow you to be able to buy a house? Obviously, housing will be in an extremely deflationary time frame where there'll be an abundance of houses because people will probably have lost their houses, meaning it will be possible to get a house, especially if it's foreclosed on, meaning that governments or whoever might be willing to take a single ounce. If that ounce is valued at, say, $20,000 or something like that, or even $10,000, you can go buy a house for $10,000 for sure, because that's a house that's either a HUD house or a house that nobody wants. Where, sure, 1 ounce for a house, I'll take that because I wasn't wise enough to have redeemed fiat early enough to get silver. So if I'm a investor, because mind you, everybody now has Airbnbs and all types of stuff they claim to own. So if I got 10 houses in my portfolio and I'm strapped, tenants ain't paying, I need to let some stuff go. Sure, give me 10 ounces. I'll give you 5 houses, because that person perceives the value of that silver probably doubling, tripling. And where you, as a person that was wise and a good steward with yours, you can let go of 5 ounces and get 5 houses and then make that exchange, and bam, that could be a house scenario. So yes, it is possible. Okay, so feel free. Okay, so next couple minutes, let's just talk about scenarios, hypotheticals. Feel free to throw out some things that come to your mind, and I'll let it process in my mind and see if it's something that I can add my 2 cents to. Because I'll be curious to find out what your imagination is, how far I could go. What else we got here? It says, Mr. What do we got here? Right on, just another. Okay, so I see conversation. You guys remember Mike on Silver Doctors? Mike on Silver Doctors with Paul $50. Yeah, that was my guy, man. That was my guy. And those were good times, man. And clearly, I wish I could go back and, like you always say, you wish you could have, would have. I would have, definitely did more, stacked more, harder, stronger. But once again, you got to do according to what you can at that moment. And not everybody, is in a position where they want to rack up, 5, 6, 7, 8 credit cards to go get you a couple monster boxes. But, in hindsight, everybody's strategy is different, LBP. But, so I get you on that. But no, those were good times working for Silver Doctors. Had a good time. Good people. Here was something. Last time it was 1-to-1 was in Egypt over 2,500 years ago. Okay, let me show you something. Okay, I think I know where you're going, LBP. Of course, I got a graphic for that. I got graphics for days. Let me go ahead and grab one. And speaking of which, I forgot to do this, but for those that are plugged in, if you are plugged in right now watching, wherever you're watching from, hit that thumbs up button. Show your boy some love. And then if you haven't, as I mentioned before, because I'm trying to awake the masses as best I can, take the link to the Silver IQ quiz beneath this video and text it right now to a family or friend and say, hey, silver's moving. Did you know? You might want to check into it. Better yet, where do you stand? Take this quiz real quick and see where they stand. And then that'll help open their eyes to their lack of monetary awareness. I call them monetary illiterate because we were not taught this stuff. And then it can get them asking questions, and it might put you in a position as a family member or a friend to where now it may open their eyes to where they go out and buy a couple ounces. And then we get a retail movement. And mind you, at the end of the day, once retail get in, everybody who's been a prudent steward ahead of time will be recipients of that liquidity that comes in. So no matter what, whether the government creates 20 trillion on the next market issue or retail gets involved, holding something tangible and real from the earth that God gave us is going to benefit those that hold them. So yeah, so this is a time to use this momentum to share it with family and friends. That's just a way of educating them. So anyway, okay, what was I looking at? Okay, real quick, I do have something. Let me go back. So in my let me go back and look at my archive. And real quick, give me a second here. I always got something for the cause for the moment. Let me see if I can find it. It is a graphic that I found, and here we go. Bam, right on time. Never don't say your boy Mike don't got your back. This is what LBP is referring to. And this is something that most people may not be aware of. The silver gold ratio. So here we have a historical chart. And this is something, once again, if you're watching this, screen capture this, screenshot it, copy, paste it, send it to your people so they get a glimpse at history for the last several thousands of years, last millennia. Okay, so just real quick here, for those who might not know, you might be coming across this the first time. I got you covered. Different empires, different time frames. Gold to silver ratio, according to the history books. Somebody out on the internet grabbed this, gather this information, take it with a grain of salt. But as we get towards the latter part here, this is stuff that we can all, for the most part, validate because history books we can look up easily. But the means 1 to 3, Egypt 1 to 9 during 2700 BC, 2000 BC 1 to 2, Egypt 110. So literally, Egypt went through different phases of clipping coins and all types of things, debasing their coins. We know about that. Egypt. We got Plato. We got Greece, Rome, Caesar, England, and 1200. We got Italy here, Italy, Spain, China. So Japan, and then we got France, 1600. You got 1500, 1620, 1720. So once again, these are different time frames, and now here we are today. This is 2024, 80 to 1. So yeah, if we were to revert back to the historical means of 1 to 10 or something like that, that's how you get figures where it's like, if gold right now is 4,200, then clearly silver should be $420 or $4,600 would be the price if we use the gold to silver ratio as a global benchmark. But that's a part of the discovery phase that we're in now. So, okay. But no, that was a good point there. What else we got? I stack gold and silver coin and land. The Bitcoin is a gambling. And as I mentioned before, Bitcoin is where we're, and mind you, people, regardless of their opinion or perception of where we're at now, digital assets will succeed because we have a time frame of events we have to go to get us towards the mark of the beast system. So there's no stopping that. Only thing you can do is at best is slow it down. But it has to happen. It will happen. So technology will advance. We will get a CBDC. We will get a stablecoin. We'll get digital. All those things is planned. We will get it. So, if it's coming, there's no point in being like, you can resist it as best you can. But I'm saying I'm trying to figure out how to say it. If you know something's happening, something's going to occur, you can't stop it. What's the point in frowning and getting all down and gloom about it? Shift your paradigm as to your perception of it so that it won't impact you the way it will if you looked at it from the old methodology. It's not doom and gloom. It's, at the end of the day, it's a good thing, depending on your perspective. Remember that. That's how I see things. And anyway. Okay, it says, Jeff says, I always gift gold and silver Xmas. The family is slowly starting to get on board. Great, man. It says, Grandpa grew up during the Depression. I just stack of what he taught me. There you go. Wisdom, passing down wisdom. Okay, so what we got here? A lot of interesting back and forth here. Mike Silverty. Mike Silverty, I joined nearly a half year ago, and I'm loving it. RTD. Silver Sailor Hex. I'm loving watching RTD, watching from Japan at 4 a.m. Good stuff, man. So, yeah, once again, silver team right there, man. Like, so once again, there's more than enough ways to take advantage of these opportunities. So once again, silver links in the description for those that want to join the silver team. It's a community of individuals that literally put their money where their mouth is. So yeah, all types of resources in the description. But okay, that being the case, about to wind down. It is, got more stuff to take care of today. I might stream again if I can. But for those that are plugged in, if you haven't, hit that like button. Show your support for the channel. And definitely that helps. Take this video because there's been nuggets throughout this video. Clip them out, segment it, whatever you want to do, or take the whole video, share it with your family and friends. Give them something to look at this weekend. Because come Monday, either something's going to happen in a negative sense, or we're going to have a continuation of the price surge heading into Monday. And that's where I'm like, I'd be surprised if we get out of this year and there not be some type of major distraction, because it's going to hurt the Trump narrative, because Trump won't be able to continue to talk about economic recovery and the economy's doing great and job. I got all types of articles I can take you, but it'd take too much time. But yeah, everybody know the economy ain't doing that good. So what's his narrative going to be? He's going to have to distract you with some type of tweet saying that we just came to an agreement with Japan and there's no tariffs, or the biggest narrative, he's going to have to really gas the people up. And I saw a video about undoing or eliminating income taxes because of all this tariff money we're bringing in. So yeah, he got to do something to gas you up. You better believe it. It wouldn't be making America great again if he didn't lie to you somehow. Anyway, so share, whatever. And then also for those that haven't, this is the wrong one, but the dollar IQ quiz is still available as well. Take that, but the silver quiz is more important. And then once you take the quiz, you get a chance to download this, which is monetary cheat sheet. You'll be smarter than 99.99% of your friends once you know your history. And then this is the silver team that was mentioned. Links in the description. Just a way to automate your weight. That's all. And get your weight up and join a community of people that enjoy this process of educating other people. So, okay, people, this is an hour. This is as long as I've gone in a long time, but I enjoyed myself as always. And for those who have enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up, drop a comment, take this and share it, and be a blessing to other people. Love, live, laugh, learn. Enjoy your weekend, and stay prayed up. It's gonna be good. Peace.